I recorded so many songs this year. I was in that grind, bro. I was grinding.
How many songs do you think you've recorded from January 1st to right now?
From January 1st, let's see. About... You talking about like unreleased and released or just released?
Unreleased and released.
About like 500, bro. 500 to like 600, bro. Like dead ass. Like every month, basically what I have is I try to have a goal. I try to have a goal of like more than 30 songs in a month. And every time I reach 100, I reach 100 songs in a note. Because that's how much songs you can get in a note before it like caps out. So once I get that 100, I'm like, yeah, bet. Next month, let's do the same shit.
I need a beam. I just want a beam. I am not a blogger, but I'm a DailyChiefer.
Big Skull interview.
Yes, sir, ski.
So we're going to start off with a couple, basic question. Like, how did you get into music? Like, when was the age? Like, when did you be like, yeah, I want to be a musician. I want to be a rapper?
Shit, probably like... I always wanted to do like music and shit. So I started out just like writing music. But I didn't know about SoundCloud and shit. So it was just like, bro, what am I doing? And then come 6th grade, fucking my homeboy put me on with that shit. And then he taught me how to like record on SoundCloud and shit like that. And then I just started dropping like every day type shit.
So what grade are you in now?
I graduated.
Oh, so you graduated high school, so this is like a while back type vibes.
Yeah, this was like 6th grade.
Okay. So you started making music in 6th grade. That's probably like what? You're 12, 13 years old at the time?
Yeah, type shit, 12.
When did you realize like this is something that could be like serious? Like what was the song? Was it a moment? Like when did you be like, oh shit, like this is real?
Probably like, I would say ending the last year type shit. Cause like before that, it was just like me just finding my sound and shit. Just recording like every day. Cause quarantine, that shit really helped me out, bro. It gave me time to record and shit like that.
Gave time to focus.
Yeah.
Figure out
Cause
what
like
you
when
need
I
to
had
do.
school, bro, there was really no time to do nothing, bro.
Yeah.
So I'll have to like do homework first and then get to recording. But like most of the time I was not doing homework. So,
And then if you do it, you're like, I don't even want to do this shit no more.
Yeah,
Fuck,
like,
it's 10 o'clock. I'm gonna go chill.
type shit.
Facts. So was there a song that was a particular song that was like, or was just?
I would say it wasn't really a song. It's just like people just catching on type shit. It just started like a whole bunch of people just started catching on and shit. So I'm like, all right, bet I'm finna take this shit serious.
Like the motion started going up. You started
Yeah.
seeing plays. And you're like, oh
Yeah.
shit, people are fucking with me.
Type shit. Started seeing follows and shit like that.
Okay. So how do you think growing up in Florida? First of all, you were born in Florida?
No, I was born in Sweden.
You were born in Sweden.
Yeah.
And then moved to Florida.
Yeah, at a young age.
Okay.
Type shit.
So that explains like the whole Sweden
Sweden,
vibes. Yeah, can you go
That's
further
it.
into that? Like you just kind of repping where you're from?
Shit, man. I'm Swedish, man. That's all it is.
Okay.
Raised in Florida.
So how do you think growing up in Florida, like, were you influenced by like any of the, the prior kind of like underground that was coming up, like Denzel Curry, all them?
Like, I peeped they wave, but I wasn't really trying to make music like that. But I would say like the Jacksonville type of wave, that shit really inspired me in terms of like the aggression shit.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, type shit.
So like when you saw like the Jacksonville shit, you're like, yeah, this is not that it's inspiration. It's like it's more like things kind of click.
Yeah, basically.
You're like, there's a path for me. There's a way I can do some shit.
And what's crazy is fucking, I don't know if you know a rapper named Broke as Fuck.
Yeah.
But his Trillers really inspired like the way I do my shit.
Okay.
But it's like niggas wouldn't know though, cause my audience is not the same as his shit. So they would never be like, oh, I'm cloning him. But if you go look at his shit, then you'll probably see like the similarities and shit like that.
Nah, I was really into Broke as Fuck, and now that you say there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah,
to,
you see it, right?
Yeah, facts. And no, there's a lot of cool things. I thought that Jacksonville was very slept on for a long time in the Florida whole grand scheme of thing. Like Orlando had its wave, you know, South Florida obviously had its moment. But there was a couple areas that, you know, I'm like born and raised in. I've lived in like every part of like Florida. I lived in Tallahassee. I lived in Fort Myers. I lived in South Florida. I lived in Orlando. So like I felt like Jacksonville and I would say the west coast of Florida was pretty much slept on. Like they weren't really getting what they deserved.
It was more like local, like they was catching fire like locally, but like people just started catching on like out of state and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Just like with the New York shit, like everything just starts out local and then it just blows up.
Then it becomes like every kid's looking at, why is this guy talking to this guy?
Facts. It's the beef, bro, that really sparks everything, bro.
Yeah.
Niggas like to see that shit.
Yeah, Chicago, Jacksonville reminded me a lot of what was going on early Chicago.
Facts.
Like where people were more interested in the story between the two artist groups and like why they were beefing than it was really the music.
Facts, like niggas love the beef, bro.
It's a fact.
The beef shit really get these niggas like instigating. I feel like fans, some fans could be blamed for like some rappers' deaths, in my opinion, bro. Like they be instigating the fuck out of shit.
1000%. I said that for a lot of things. I think a lot of the fans like make issues with other artists too.
Yeah.
You know, like if another artist sounds like another artist, they'll be like, "Oh, you copying this guy, you copying this guy."
Yeah.
Now there's like two people that kind of are against each other.
Yeah, for like no reason.
And they could make good music.
Facts, bro. That shit's crazy as fuck, bro. These fans, bro. And they don't even know what they be doing, bro. They just be trolling.
Yeah.
Like that troll shit really need to stop.
It's a fact. I think Drake said it. Like, people don't even care about the song per se or the music or the art per se. They're just trying to find a way to comment on it to get the most likes, to get the most retweets.
Facts.
And then later, they dive into the music and they become a fan later. And I see that a lot with, you know, bigger artists, you know what I mean? Like, you know, they kind of get clowned on first. Like Kendrick's album, people were clowning on him when he first dropped. But then, like, there's a new trend to go make fun of another artist. Then people can kind of sit down and listen with the music. And it's just we're kind of in a weird era.
I feel like the fans, they got too much control, bro. Way too much control. Like, it shouldn't be one person who can influence a whole bunch of people who's a nobody, you feel me? That shit's just weird.
Do you think it's the control or that the access now is higher than it's ever been?
I feel like it's both, low-key. Like, back then, I feel like people could think for themselves because there wasn't really no social media, so everybody had their own opinion. Like, you was forced to have your own opinion. But now you could go on Twitter, bro, see, like, one person's take and then be forced to agree with it because it got, like, hella likes. Type shit.
It's true. I think that goes on with everything right now. Like, even politics, even just... There's, like, this weird, like, flock mentality now.
Yeah.
Where, like, people used to stand on their own opinions and be like, oh, I agree with some of this, I agree with some of that. But now it's like you kind of have to draw a line in everything.
Yeah.
Because of the internet. It's like even, like, the Andrew Tate character. I felt like there was things that people could look at that are negatively, and there's things that you could look at what he says that are positively. But because majority of the internet is like, this guy's terrible, you kind of had to fall in line, or you look terrible. And it's just like kind of societal ways basing your thought process. I meant. So it's like it's kind of weird in situations where it's like you can't even pick a side anymore, or like find both sides. Actually, you can't be like, oh, I like what he's doing and I like what he's doing. No, you got to pick one or the other, because like if you do him, you're bad, and if you do him, you're good. Like, so I think a lot of people, they don't want confrontation. I think most people don't want confrontation. And they end up just falling victim to, like you said, like a big tweet that has a thread, and you know.
Yeah, type shit.
So I think the access too. I've noticed, because I've been covering this throughout the years. I felt like Twitter, you had a certain access, but it was really just to the thoughts, you know, the mind.
Yeah.
So music kind of led first. A lot of the early SoundCloud kids, they had more followers on Twitter than they had Instagram. You were kind of following them for their music and what they thought about shit. You know, like it wasn't just the vanity of it all.
Yeah.
And then Instagram comes out and it's like now there's a whole different spectrum, and like you can DM people. Like on Twitter in the beginning, you couldn't like DM them unless they followed you.
Type shit.
So you couldn't get like this guy being like, oh, you sound like this guy. So you couldn't even see like the fan that's giving you that bullshit interaction that may make you feel some type of way about another artist that may be making music.
Type shit.
So what you working on now? Is there a project or you just sticking with singles?
Shit, right now I'm working on a tape called Nat Cap.
And when's that dropping?
Shit, as of right now, I don't even know, but it's on the way for Showski.
Cool. Anything that is a surprise to the fans, or you think they all got it wrapped up?
In terms of, like, what's in the project?
No, like producers that they don't think you're working on.
Honestly, they're going to be surprised by the features. Like, it's a couple features on there, like, they've been asking me to collab with. It's fun to be on it for sure.
Okay.
Type shit.
Now you said that you made some music, last night, like, and we kind of talked about it earlier. What's the process of how you record?
On some real shit, I got 2 different processes. One at home and then one at the studio. So basically at home, what I would do is I'll get a hard app pack from like a producer, and then I'll just load up the beats on Adobe Audition. I don't record on FL Studio or shit like that. I record on Adobe Audition. It's like made by Adobe and shit like that. And then so basically I load up the beat and I just punch in like step by step. I don't write. I don't do like one take shit. I just chop it up.
And you record yourself at home?
Yeah.
Everything?
Yeah.
Do you mix yourself too?
I don't necessarily mix. I just like have a preset.
And then you get someone else to master. You kind of keep it raw.
I just kind of keep it raw type shit.
I like that. You feel it in your music. That's one thing I like about your kind of discography, if you will. Is like it feels a lot of like me being from Florida. I feel like there's a certain attitude that Floridians have, and they carry, and it kind of feels that way in the music. Like I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna do whatever I fucking want. It sounds good. But fuck y'all, like I'm gonna do whatever I want to do.
Shit, basically what it is, bro.
And that's kind of like what I felt is super special about your music, and it kind of brought me back, not to feel like an old head, but like it brings me back to like, when I first started fucking with artists in my area or just the state in general. It felt like people weren't accepting of what was going on, and I'm like, bro, this shit's just like, it's so good, it's mad cool, and I felt like your music is like kind of reminiscent of what I kind of felt was missing for like last 6-7 years.
Yeah. If I was from the outside and like it wasn't me and I was just a fan and there was a Smoking Skull, I'll basically be like, yo, this nigga is recreating something different. I feel like I'm basically like just doing shit. I'm doing like the same shit niggas already did, but in a different way, in like a more creative way.
I think that's what some of the best are doing. I think he's saying the same shit, but I feel like he's doing it in a super creative way. And we were kind of talking about this too. I feel like you draw a line. Like people either love you or they hate you. Like I was going on Twitter, like we were talking earlier, and it seems like there's this huge base that's just ready to yo, you're tripping. And then there's people that are using your name to like talk shit on you to be a meme. And they're just coming in swarms and being like, fuck no, you're tripping. You're cap.
Yeah.
Do you like go within the music thinking about that, or you just kind of let it happen?
Shit, I just let the shit happen. Type shit.
Okay.
But I don't know, like recently, I think it's because like a whole bunch of people are starting to like hear about me and shit. So I guess like, I don't know, they think, I don't even know what they think, bro, but they think I'm some goofy, bro. They need to go do their research, bro. Like that ass. Like, they think they know my shit, but they don't for real.
That's most artists, for sure.
Like, they'll listen to, like, the top 3 songs on SoundCloud and think they know my shit.
You got a lot of releases.
Hell yeah. Especially on, like, different pages, too. Not just my main shit.
Yeah, when I was going through it, I'm like, there's probably like 40 songs that I didn't even know you had recorded and put out. Like, I came later in, I'm not gonna lie, but like, I still felt like I was pretty early on it, and I still felt like I was like, God damn, there's a lot of music.
Yeah, bro. I recorded so many songs this year. I was in that grind, bro. I was grinding.
How many songs you think you've recorded from January 1st to right now?
From January 1st, let's see. About, you talking about like unreleased and released or just released?
Unreleased and released.
About like 500, bro. 500 to like 600, bro. Like dead ass. Like every month, basically what I have is I try to have a goal. I try to have a goal of like more than 30 songs in a month. And every time I reach 100, I reach 100 songs in a note. Because that's how much songs you can get in a note before it like caps out. So once I get that 100, I'm like, yeah, bet. Next month, let's do the same shit.
So it's just like every note is a different month.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, yeah, I think the freedom of how you record allows that.
Facts.
You know, you're doing it all your own. I feel like a lot of kids these days, they're so talented. Like, when you say that you're recording your own music, for me, coming from the era that I come in, I think it's a little bit more normalized, but it's still extremely, extremely hard to do. But it's like, kids nowadays are recording themselves more than I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, that shit definitely became more easier. Because back then, like, when I first started out, what I was trying to do was trying to go into the studio. But then I had to learn, like, the hard way that these studio people, they don't care about you. They just care about the bread. So I had to just get my own equipment and shit like that and just started out my shit by myself. Type shit.
Paid it back in a month, probably.
Yeah, most def.
Big facts. Because it's like, I remember my first time saving up for studio, we spent, and this was, like I said, a little bit more further. This is probably 2011. You know, we're spending $600 for a fucking 4-hour session, $150 an hour.
Yeah, like, that shit makes no sense, bro.
And it's like, you know how much money like that I could just put that into like a mic, and then the next month spend another $600, get myself like an adapter, get everything going and get going with my home studio.
Facts, bro.
Do you think that you like recording in a studio too?
Honestly, the studio, I got used to it. Like, at first, I felt like it just took away all my creativity because I felt like I was on a time limit. But now that I have, like, access to a studio without, like, worrying about the funds and shit like that, I could just record however long I want and shit. So it's really not a problem no more. Like, I could really be creative. But, like, back then, I hated studios, bro, because it was a short amount of time, and then these niggas would just take my bread. And, like, they didn't give a fuck about the mixing and shit like that. They just did whatever, bro. They just took their bread. I ain't knocking their hustle, but, like, bro, if you gonna call yourself an engineer, bro, at least do this shit right.
That's a fact. And then, at the end of the day, if you gotta remake it, you just wasted money.
Facts, bro. Like, I don't believe in remaking songs, though.
If it's done, it's done.
It's done, bro.
I like that. So it's like a moment in time.
Yeah.
Like when someone's listening to a music that you're making, they know going into like this was a Thursday in July and this is how I was feeling.
Exactly, but that's how I think about it, yeah.
I love that because it's art, you know? Like I think a lot of people, because I kind of agree with what you were saying too. Like I think someone said this to me, I think it was an artist named Curtis Waters. He makes different stuff, but he said sometimes there's only songs you can make that are in the bedroom.
Yeah. You
can't make it with a bunch of your homies around because there's just certain shit that you creatively can't even think to say because you have all this energy around you. But when you're alone, if you're feeling aggressive, sad, you want to talk about your mama, you want to talk about your past, like that all can come out there. It's kind of like free flowing.
Most def.
Where it's like if you're an artist with an artist that you're cool with, you don't want him to maybe think, oh, I'm soft or something, you know, like I don't want to come off this way, so I'm gonna make only this and that kind of. You have to kind of create that energy. When your energy really wants to run towards that vibe, you gotta head to the opposite end and kind of recreate it. So you might come out with something dope, but like it may take a little while. I feel like that's why I like the home studio stuff because we're getting Skull 100%.
Yup.
Nothing else.
No
that
fake
moment in
shit.
time.
Yup. The realest.
I think that's why, like, I was telling people, I think that they should make a song title and put, like, the time in it. Like,
Yeah.
like this was recorded, like, this
That
time.
shit definitely matters, though. Because, like, especially when, like, you might think it's ass right now, but, like, maybe 3 months later, you go back to the shit, and it's like the best shit you ever heard. That's how I feel about a lot of my music.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could record it right now, think it's mid, but, like, 6 months later, bro, I play it back. That shit just beautiful, bro, type shit.
Do you think that it's because you're overly, like, are you overly critical?
Yeah, basically, yeah. Like, my expectations are high. Like, if I think it's not good, I'm not even gonna do a trailer to that shit. If I feel like that shit is fire as fuck, then I'm gonna do that trailer, bro, and then just drop that shit.
So there's some songs, like, as soon as you're done recording, you're like, I'm making a
Yup.
trailer.
It's like that.
It's like 2 minutes after.
Yup.
I love that. You know, I feel like some artists, they try to be so genius with the way they roll things out when the best artists in the world are just, they're kind of just free-flowing.
Yeah. Because even if sometimes with me, bro, like, I might not like a song, I preview on the story. Like, I don't do a trailer yet. I just preview on the story to see, like, if they fuck with it. And I just see a whole bunch of interactions, so I'm like, I bet I'm going to do a trailer to this. And then they fuck with it.
Yeah, because your engagement is crazy. I feel like you have a real touch with your fan base. Like, you're really
yeah,
in
like,
tune.
I talk to them every day. Bro. Like, I be interacting with my fans. Like, they be making memes about me and shit. Like, I be laughing with them. I feel like these rappers, they be trying to act too hard for no reason.
Or too cool.
Yeah, like, bro, you're not too cool to text your nigga back, bro. They be thinking they mysterious and shit like that.
And we're all humans. I like that you have that thought
Facts.
process. We all pee. If I cut you, you're going to bleed.
Facts.
Like, there's not much separating your fans from what you are as a human. You obviously are more creative, more talented, but they might have another gift.
Yeah, I want to know who made it to be like, oh, I'm famous, so I don't have to text somebody back. Like, who created that shit?
It's an ego, my friend.
That shit is crazy. I'll never have an ego, bro. I'll never have one.
I feel like you've had an ego death where there's been an experience where you've been humbled.
Yeah.
Do you know what pinpointed it? Just a lot of series of life.
Honestly, I think it's just seeing, like, other people's egos, bro. It just kill mine. Type shit.
Being like, I don't want to ever be that.
Yeah, like, bro, this nigga's a dickhead, bro. Like, I don't want to be that dude.
I like that. I mean, I think that my dad used to say humility and intelligence, they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So once you get more humble and you can listen more, so it grows your intelligence. As you become more intelligent, you realize you don't know much.
Type shit.
And then it just goes hand in hand. I think those are the most successful and most smart people, are the ones that, like, really truly treat people with, like, an ideology that we all are the same, no matter our bank account or anything,
Yeah.
you know? We're just humans living on a floating ball.
Type shit, basically.
Now, I like that. Like, I feel like, you know, I was going to ask this question probably towards the end, but I feel like your music is an inspiration to a lot of kids, you know, that can just, like, you know, I can grab a computer, download Adobe,
Yeah.
and go make some music, you know? Like, it makes them feel like they can do it. Do you feel like you're doing that for your fans?
Honestly, bro, I didn't think, like, niggas would just start. I didn't think niggas would start cloning and, like, getting inspo and shit like that. I thought, like, it would just be me just doing this shit and then just being fans, just, like, watching this shit. But now that I see, like, people actually take inspo, that shit actually cool. But my fans, like, they be on their ass, though. Like, they be like, oh, this is Smoking Bones and shit like that, bro. That shit be having me crying. Like, they be instigating shit, bro. That should be funny.
Yeah, but that's cool, though. You got a good fan base. You know, trust me, I was going through your gram today. I was like, this kid gets it. Like, he's got a real fan base that he's building, like, a world around.
Yeah, and it's not, like, no TikTok shit either. It's, like, organic shit.
Yeah, nah, I didn't feel that one bit. You know, I feel like there's just, they they know what they have in front of them.
Facts.
Like, it's a superstar in the making. They want to be riding this journey along with you.
That's real. That's
Well,
really how it is.
what would you say was like, you know, like, I know we kind of talked about it earlier, but like, what would you say to some kid that like is, you know, trying to get into it? You know, what was the best thing that kind of got you going?
Honestly, like figuring out that there's no such thing as trash music. Like, someone could tell you trash, but if you believe in yourself and you just keep doing what you want to do, then you could really like come up off that. Because people was telling me like my music was trash and shit. But I just kept going. If I'm so trash, then how come niggas fuck with me then? You feel me? Like, there's always gonna be, there's people out there just waiting for you to be in their face, bro, basically.
And people are always gonna not like something.
Yeah.
I relate music to food, right? Like, if you make a dish right now and it's like Nutella on a burrito and someone's like, that's disgusting, but if 10 million people eat it daily, that's a dish.
Facts. Basically, bro.
I like that way of thinking. And so one question I wanted to ask was, you know, when obviously Nina's a big record, you know, working with Mexico Dro and Tragic.
Yup.
Is that the first time you hit the new and hot charts, or?
Nah, I've been hitting it like for the past 3-4 months, but not like that high type shit. Like,
What was the first song that hit?
First song was a song called Lil Wop with my boys. But it was the lowest charting though. That shit was crazy because like that shit never happened to me before. So like I was just hyped. I'm like, yeah, they be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a special moment, you know.
Yeah.
You can't leave any of that. Oh, why did I switch accounts? You can't take any of that for granted. It's hard to do it organically because a lot of them are like bigger artists or they got this huge push behind them.
Yeah.
But to do it just like off the strength of your peoples, it's a good feeling.
Facts.
I love that. I'm gonna read some of the fan ones just to kind of give them a spot. One person said, "Where do you see yourself a year from now?"
A year from now. In terms of like me as a person or like music?
Musically or as a person, whatever way you want.
Musically, I just want to be the biggest artist ever. And I feel like that's going to happen. And as a person, I just want to be like, you know, mentally stable. Just like being able to chill whenever I want type shit. I just want the work to pay off basically in a year.
It's a good way to look at it. Another person said, "When's Jenga dropping? When that motherfucker gonna drop?"
Jenga dropping soon. I just shot the video in Chinatown.
Okay.
So that shit definitely on the way for sure.
Is there a date?
Shit, nah.
Keeping everything mysterious?
Yeah.
That's one thing I realized about you. I'm like, there's like, everything's like kept in the wraps, man.
I can't tell too much. You feel me?
Yeah, so where did the slang and lingo come from?
Shit. This one's a funny one for sure. But it really started with, I think it started with Brady. That's what it started with, cause I'm like every day, like basically I be hustling like reposts and shit like that. Cause you know niggas just trying to get their song reposted or like a feature and shit like that. So I'm like, all right, bet, DM money ready. And then next day, I'm like, let me switch it up. I'm like, DM bread ready. And then next day, I'm like, fuck it, let me put them shits together. DM bready type shit. And niggas was like, bro, what the fuck is bready? I'm like, nigga, bread ready, bro. That's what it means, basically. It's really not hard. Like, anybody could, like, really understand it, for real.
Just like your creative outlet.
Yeah.
I like that. One person said, "What is WYO? What you want? And who are the people in it?"
Bro, that's my family, bro. And the people in it is my homeboy Malachi, my homeboy Cozy, Swiss, Fino. Like, when nobody had my back, them boys had me for sure. Like outside like the internet shit. Like that's some real family shit.
Like people you actually knew.
Yeah, type shit.
I fuck with that. It's a decent amount of question. Well, I think we talked about it when the album gonna drop, but it's coming.
On the way, for sure.
On the way.
I need a beam.